Okay, yeah, the title of the video prepared you, I'm sure. This video is going to be in 3 sections, so you can skip if you need to. The first section I'm going to talk to you while looking at Naaman, goofball Naaman, who's next to my work computer still, and some pictures of Rose. So this is her story. This is the conclusion. So here's a warning for section 2 of the video. It is Rose before she passed. She does not look good. It is sad. I was trying to deal with it, and you might want to skip to the 3rd section of the video, which is a slideshow of photos from the last couple months, maybe 6 weeks of her life. Some are happy and some are showing what she looked like and what was going on. There's descriptions, but I put the chapters there for you. If you're sensitive, I understand. This is a long video, but I think she deserves this explanation. So Naaman is ready and willing to be my little buddy. She found her little hammock and loves it. So for the first part, we're going to just keep her in frame and look at Rose's pictures, and I'll explain everything. So the first part is extremely, extremely important, and I might do a video just on this, but make sure your dragon is 100% positively deceased before you bury, before you do whatever it is you're going to do, hopefully something humane. And there's ways to tell, but I got a response from my vet about this because I was very curious, because Rose has come back from so many things. This really, really threw me off last weekend when I woke up and I did see her with her mouth open, and some people say, well, if that happens, they're gone. Well, not necessarily. It's not that easy, but here's what my vet said. She said with reptiles, the heart can actually beat for 1 to 2 hours after death, which she put in parentheses, brain dead. It takes rigor mortis a little longer to set in than their mammalian counterparts. We usually allow up to 24 hours, though it can be seen as soon as 1 to 2 hours. I had asked her about that because rigor mortis didn't happen for Rose until about an hour and a half after I stroked her head and told her it was okay to go. Animals are pretty amazing. And I asked my vet just out of curiosity, is it even possible that that was the moment she let go? And it is possible. So I really thought that it would be as obvious in any other animal. No, it is not. When my chickens die, it's very obvious because their entire body, every single joint, including their toes, turns into kind of a statue, and it's really obvious, and it's about 30 minutes or so after they pass. And of course rigor mortis will fade out after a handful of hours, and everything's limp again. With dragons, the elbows and the knees and the joints in the tail and the jaw, those get stiff. However, the hips and the shoulders will still move. The base of the tail will still move. So, if you pick them up and their arms stay in the same position for the most part, and their tail is stiff all the way to the end, that's a pretty sure sign. I thought the eyes would have clouded over. Hers did not. Could have been the pain meds in her system. I'm going to explain what happened. To her, it was cancer. Rose was 6 years old at least. And just saying, I'm only able to talk about this without crying because I've had a whole week of tears. Well, Naaman's going to sleep, so I'm going to let's see if I can fix the camera up here and look at some other pictures. So cancer happens to dragons, as they're finding out. It happens to a number of them if they live long enough, sometimes when they're young. But there were signs of internal bleeding, and I'm going to show what that looked like. Her colors turned, she was a color I wasn't used to seeing, and that's going to be in the pictures at the end. But once the labs came back, it was indicative of cancer. We did an x-ray, she did an x-ray, the vet, like we did it. There were no tumors. However, that doesn't mean that there's not cancer. I mean, it can just tell you if there is a tumor, but the labs showed all the signs of cancer. But the part of the labs that I could control with what I fed her, the slurries I gave her at the end of the vitamin water and the calcium water, her levels of all of that potassium, calcium, sodium, like all of those things were perfect. And that's probably what kept her going as long as she was going. And I'm going to explain in the next part of the video, but I'll give you a very short synopsis. Her muscles started kind of wasting away last summer. That's when I was doing the physical therapy videos, trying to get her to, let's see if I can do that. There, it's a little bit more clear. That's when I was trying to get her to do physical therapy and walk more. I thought she was just not wanting to move because of the bone spur in her shoulder, and that was not it. She just wasn't strong enough. And she was trying to overcompensate with other, you know, like kind of flinging her head to the side to get started on moving. But the physical therapy, you know, she enjoyed it. She got worms, you know, and I could tell she was happy by her colors. But this explains why so many times in the last, say, 8 months or so, her colors just didn't look great. She didn't look comfortable. When I'd try to pick her up and do stuff with her, she just didn't seem happy, and she would try to move back towards her tank. And I had her tank very comfortable. It was perfect temperatures, perfect lights. And just, she was happy. I had the TV on for her, so she did fine that way. But the fecal was, I did get a fecal sample at the end, and it was pretty much all blood. No parasites, nothing like that. So last weekend, my friends in the dragon group, you know who you are, or the reptile owners group, helping me through that means a lot, and that's a big reason why I printed out some big pictures. I'm used to turning my head left during the workday and seeing Rose look at me, and now you helped me understand that it's okay to look at the pictures of the animals that we miss. And I didn't realize, I just shielded myself from that in the past, and understanding I don't have to do that, and that it actually helps. It's a little painful, but it helps more than it hurts. It's hard to understand or hard to explain. But, you know, here's how she was usually looking at me, and those were her colors, and you can see her beard is not a happy color there. That's how she usually looks. She was pretty uncomfortable for a long time, and even though she was happy, she had the happy colors, but she had the dark beard as well. But that was her. She'd look at me, and when I'd look over at her, she'd close her eye at me. And it's funny because Naaman does that to me now. I think she picked that up from Rose, but Rose would look me in the eyes. So I picked out some pictures. There's a funny one of her going into the cave. I had cut a hole in the side. She liked it. She loved her log, and she'd climb up there and look at me across the log. That's a little bit older picture. She doesn't have the dark beard there. I think that's before she started to decline. And then at the very top there, you know, another one with her log. I have these pictures there, and my friends helped me, you know, kind of get over that. And that means a lot to me. And I'm going to put, oops, nope. Hit the wrong button, sorry. My friends helped me decide to take all the pictures from my relatives, my ancestors, I guess, my family members that are gone, grandparents, great-grandparents, lots of pictures in with all the relatives of their pets. And I'm going to take those out. I'm going to put them in protector laminate things, and I'm going to do a big bulletin board of the animals that I miss. And I think that's going to be really cool. And This is something a friend gave me. When you say their name, you're not reminding me that they died. You're reminding me that you remember that they lived. And I love that. I'm going to put that at the top. So that's my plan. So the next part of this video is, I was very sad. I broke up a couple times. Rose was alive in this video. I know that now. And it was a few hours after that I told her she could go. I said, promise me you'll just tell Steve when I said hi. And she went. And she was put with her pink, see that pink thing? She loved that thing. That was her favorite thing in the world. And that was with her in the burial box, along with a little lei that I had for her head. It was purple with little white flowers, and it made her so mad. So I put that in the box too. And also a drawing from a friend of mine who drew her. And I made a printout of the drawing that is in Naaman's tank, but that's Rose. That's my printout. I put a frame around it. And all right, so here we go with the next part of the video. If it's too much, please skip to the pictures at the end. They'll show what Rose looked like when she was losing blood. And if that happens to your dragon, maybe you'll understand. Maybe take him to the vet, get an x-ray, see what's going on, get a fecal, all that good stuff. But for all of you who've been supportive, I can't thank you enough. Please, if you want to join me on Instagram, the link is below. If you feel like subscribing, I would love it. I'm going to continue to do dragon videos. This has not ruined me for dragon ownership. It's given me some passion, because looking up that type of cancer, which I'll put a link below, they're actually developing some treatment, some cure for that, some cures. A cure, I guess. So the vet world's working on it, because bearded dragons are the most popular reptile pet in the US, and it's getting popular elsewhere as well. And I have hope for these guys. It's just in the US we haven't had new dragons imported here since the 70s, so they're a little bit inbred at this point, so they're gonna have problems. But thank you, and here's the rest of the video. Okay, I've regained my composure a little bit. Yeah, I lost it. I don't want to be one of those people that doesn't lose it when they lose a pet. So that's normal. But I closed the curtain a little bit so the light's a little bit better. You can see her eyes are sunken. I'm pretty sure she's gone. But two things I wanted to say that I think I left out. First thing, the vet suspects some kind of cancer. They did an x-ray. They didn't see a tumor, but she did the blood work. And I guess there was enough blood. She expects it to come back with either liver failure or cancer or something, in which case, if Rose happens to somehow still be alive, I'm not going to prolong her suffering. I'm going to do, the unspeakable with the vet in a humane way. But she's expecting cancer. She said this happens more often than we would like, because they're so inbred in the United States. And the other thing I wanted to say was, it is hard to lose. Rose was a little light. Sorry, she was a little light in my life. I had Murray for a couple years, and I thought, well, if dragons are that easy and calm, and they don't really want to do stuff with you, very often, because he didn't. He was very standoffish. I can take in another dragon. I've got the means, and I got her. And I didn't view it as a rescue. I mean, she didn't appear ill. I just thought, I'm taking in another dragon. But to have a female that liked watching me, watching TV, she liked, her cushy blankets. She was a different personality. She had spunk. If I tried to take her out of the bath, she would get upset with me. She would communicate with me. She'd puff her beard and fan her beard at me if I was doing something she didn't like. And she did that because she knew I was paying attention, and I would respond accordingly. And she's been a really cool, she's been a cool little light in my life. A friend of mine drew that. I thought that was sweet. And it was originally on that post-it note, and we made it into something with a little frame. So don't worry, I'm not going to leave Rose just in this tank for days or anything. I'm going to bury her. I guess I'll find a spot outside that's appropriate. I'm not going to do a box, just going to let her be a part of the earth, which we all will at some point. But I will get the results, and they could come back with nothing, you know. I mean, dragons, you know, these things happen. So next part of the video is going to be the results of that. I don't have the x-ray, I don't need it, didn't show anything, but I will share the results. And you know, if you have a dragon that's in decline, maybe mix up a little Repashy's Beardy Buffet, just light sprinkle in a little bit of water, and give a syringe and maybe vitamins in there, maybe some calcium powder, they need that so much. And you know, you get some days with them to share how much you care. Hold them, love them, because they've got a lot of feelings. And oh, probably going to poo. So until the next part of the video, I'm sorry this is so long, but Rose deserves for her story to be shared. So I've got a playlist of all the things she went through. You can see from the very beginning, first day that I got her. And here we are, February 4th, 2023. I got her, I think, January 6th, 2 years ago. I think it was January 6th, somewhere in there. And I even, well, let me find it. I did a cool little thing, just a second. See, I did model magic, and last night, yes, she was still alive when I did this. I put her little feet and pressed lightly. They're not very deep, but I got little cookie things where you can, you know, you can put little stamps into cookies, and it worked really great. So anyway, I've done some good things. Rose has had a good life. I have no regrets. I paid an expensive vet bill just to learn that no, it wasn't anything that I did, and that was worth the money. It was not cheap, but it was worth it this time. But now I know what to do in the future, because Murray, this might be his fate in a few years. I don't know. Could be Naaman's, but we'll see. But at least I've got a good vet to talk to. So next up are some pictures, and then after that is the results. So thank you so much, everybody.